All right, guys, watch this video for Monday, March 18th, showing you the SPY. It's kind of hanging up here near recent highs, so we're in good shape there. What am I watching for Monday? LPTX kind of had this flag. I actually called this in chat for those of you that were there on Friday over 205. You can see it just kept bumping its head. When it finally broke, I was doing the lunchtime Q&A and didn't take it. It ended up going up to almost 245, but a nice little trade for those that took it because I was calling it through that 205 seller. Worst case stop 199, so only 6 cents risk and almost 40-cent move on that. Anyway, I want to watch it again on Monday. Drop card DCAR, just a quiet inside day after that big day on Thursday, so I want to keep an eye on that. HJL. I don't love this one because a lot of people from the gap up on Thursday. I had a nice trade in this one on Thursday, but really wasn't even watching it on Friday because it had sold off, closed near its lows, and it's still, look where it closed versus basically the 2-day range, which is from here to here. We're still really far down here near the bottom of that range. So I don't love it, but I still thought, you know what, that's worth watching to see if it's going to curl back up. And I kind of don't think tomorrow's the day to trade it. If it does keep curling, we might get a big move one of these days. But I got to say, I don't love that one. GLBS. Well, I don't know. They did an offering, I think. They mentioned an offering on Thursday, maybe. So we look at it on 15-minute candles. You had this really nice move. But on Friday afternoon, it kind of ripped through Thursday's high before rolling over in the last 15, 20 minutes or so. So it kind of undid this little breakout and came back down. But just the fact that in, 20 minutes, it could move from maybe 550 to 660. And its recent action tells me I do want to keep an eye on it. I also don't love that one either. AKTX had this huge move, then the gap up, nasty reversal, then another red day. Pretty low volume on Friday when you consider on Wednesday it traded over 75 million shares. On Friday all the way down to 3.8 million. That's almost crazy, right? Pretty good setup though for me for a possible turn back up on Monday. We'll see. The only way I'd probably trade this. Well, there's two different ways. One, if I get a gap down and we get our famous gap down bounce play setup, or if it trades in a narrow range and I get kind of an upside breakout out of a clearly established narrow range on Monday. All right, so those kind of two ways I'm looking at that. Remember, if you're watching this video and you're somewhat new to me, I'm in cash every night. So I'm building a watch list for stuff that might let me make some money on a low risk A+ setup on an intraday basis on Monday. So keep that in mind when you watch this. Watch me go through this list. All right. ATOS. This one I like less than I like AKTX, the one I just showed you, much more than this one because on Thursday this gapped up and was crazy strong and undid all of Thursday. Everybody from Thursday that's long and held is underwater. And if I go back and show you AKTX, remember this one started on Wednesday, basically at close to $2, and ran up to over 9 in 2 sessions. But you don't have, I don't know how to word this. You don't have everybody who's been trading it underwater like you do in pretty much ATOS is just about everybody. So I don't know. I hate to keep saying this in my videos, but I'm really not in love with any of these. I kind of think AKTX might be my favorite as far as potential for a little mini squeeze, but we'll see. ZN had this big 3-day move and now 3 days down. A partial retracement on lower volume. It's a low-priced oil and gas play, so keep that in mind. VVPR, almost 20 million shares. Let's see, this would have been Tuesday. And then 3 days lower. Look at all the way down to 291,000 on Friday. So this is kind of another setup, a little bit like that AKTX that might be ready to curl back up on Monday. ABIL, this one's kind of obscure, and it rarely goes anywhere, but it has had a few days where it really ripped, and now it's coming out of a pretty tight range. I'm going to try to zoom in to show you what I'm looking at here. So you had this spike on, a little over a week ago that went up to 212, came back down, then Thursday it spiked to 205, Friday it spiked to 205, so I really kind of like it over that 2-day high over 205. I look to the left and say that might get it through that 212, and then you're kind of in little short-term breakout territory. So even though you don't really have high relative volume lately, which is one of the ingredients that are important to me as a day trader, it's still kind of a handsome-looking chart with decent support below. So if we get a low risk setup, I'm going to give that one a shot. OMED. Man, I put this on the gap playlist on Friday before the market opened, and then before the right before the open, I pulled it back off because it just wasn't. It was sitting near pre-market lows, and then it ended up having a nice breakout. So I never caught this. Topped out at 108 before closing, right about a buck. Pretty good volume on Friday, so maybe we get a red to green or something like that in that one. NLNK. Let me pan out a little bit. You might like the looks of this one. Decent volume back here. Over 2 days, topped out at 197, and it's really kind of flagging ever since and starting to curl back up, and Friday's high basically 196. So I love it over this, I don't know, this tight pattern here. If we get through 198, 199 or $2, might be worth a shot. You got to see, you got to like the big volume here, and then again here when it gets up near that high. So I could word it like this: a clean break through 2, and LNK looks pretty good. And then TENX had this kind of a big 3-day run. I'll give you some numbers here. From 124 to a few sessions later, 279. That's a big percentage move, decent volume when it happened. Pulled back and then curling back up on Friday. I looked at this just now when I was looking at my scans and said, how did I not notice this on Friday? And then I look on an intraday basis, and here's how. It did all of its move right in the last 5 minutes. I don't know what to think of that, but it does put it on my radar for a potential long on Monday. All right, I'm going to leave my list at that. We'll also add gappers to this list in the pre-market. I'm going to remind you and myself that last Monday, and really every Monday, I go into every Monday thinking you've got weekend traders who are chomping at the bit to trade, and that creates a little bit of extra FOMO on a Monday morning. And I usually try to sit out Monday mornings, meaning the first hour or so, and just watch things unfold and see how things are going, because there was a lot of little failed breakouts on Monday. And last Monday, if you haven't watched my videos, I had a nasty red day, my worst one in over a year. And that was me messing with a stock that was one of those algo plays where the algos get a hold of one of those low float morning gappers, and they end up trading 30, 40 million shares in a day, but the algos whip them all over the place. I got burned by one of those. And so, I always learn from my mistakes, and I'm going to leave stuff like that alone. And I'm also going to kind of sit back and relax on Monday morning. And if I do get a very low risk morning gap play setup that I love, I will still trade it, but I will trade it much smaller than I would on a normal morning gap play that's setting up perfectly. Just because of that weekend FOMO, things tend to fail a little more quickly and a little more frequently on Monday mornings. All right, I'm done babbling. We'll see everybody tomorrow morning.